In this video, we're in the studio today where I discuss 8 ways you can lose your Social Security payment. Coming up next on Holy Schmidt.
Holy Schmidt!
When we approach retirement age, the single thing that Americans can count on isn't family support, it isn't their health, it isn't even leaving their career on their terms sometimes. But Social Security is the holy grail as you approach retirement age. And so most people think that their Social Security payment is sacrosanct. But what if your Social Security payment could be canceled instantly, without notice, just gone? Well, it has happened many times in the past. Probably not to someone that you know, because there are very specific circumstances in which it can be canceled. Those are the ones that we're going to talk about today, but it has happened. And what we're going to talk about now are the circumstances where it can be canceled to someone who's otherwise entitled to a full Social Security payment. Let's get into it, but before we do, please make sure that you click the like button. YouTube uses the number of likes in a video to elevate it in the search results, and I want to help as many people as possible. Point number 8, unpaid taxes. If someone has unpaid taxes, the government can use the Federal Payment Levy Program, or the FPLP, to satisfy the claim on those taxes. The FPLP authorizes the IRS to collect a portion of someone's Social Security payment to satisfy the obligation of back taxes. And of the Social Security programs out there, it applies to the Social Security Retirement Program and the Social Security Disability Insurance Program, but not the SSI. I'll explain that in just a moment. SSI stands for Supplemental Security Income. It's a needs-based program, and it's for people of low income status. Someone who has a low income can't afford to have their payment cut even further because they're already on the edge under most circumstances. But it's important to note that there are debtor rights. The IRS can't just come in and take your payment without some level of interaction with you, at least trying to get a hold of you and working it out. So if you get that letter in the mail, I would recommend that you respond to it. Point number 7, if you receive other government benefits in addition to your Social Security payment, and very specifically I'm talking about your Social Security Disability Insurance payment, then you can have your Social Security Disability payment haircut. Let me explain. There's often a duopoly between Social Security Disability Insurance and workers' comp. And when someone's hurt, they receive both in many cases. But the government don't want the recipient to have a windfall, and so they limit the amount between the two programs to 80% of the person's prior income. Now, if you go above 80%, when you add the two together, the SSDI payment is the first one that's brought down. Point 6, non-U.S. citizens living abroad. If you're a non-U.S. citizen and you've paid into the Social Security system and you're entitled to a Social Security payment, but you travel abroad, you move, in many cases, to a different country, after 6 months, your Social Security payment is frozen. There are a few exceptions to this, but for the vast majority of you, if you assume that you're a non-U.S. citizen and you are moving abroad, after 6 months, your Social Security payment will be frozen. Now, the way to manage this is you need to be in the country for 30 days before the expiration of that 6-month point. So at the end of the 5th month, if not before. If you get to 5.5 months before you come back, well, you'll be faced with 2 weeks of no Social Security payment. There are also restrictions for both U.S. citizens and non-citizens when they move to certain countries, namely Cuba and North Korea. If you move to one of those two countries, you won't be able to receive your Social Security payment. I think it's also safe to say that if you move to either North Korea or Cuba, you won't be able to receive payment from any U.S.-based bank. Point 5, income beyond the earnings limit. In 2024, the earnings limit is $22,320. Anything beyond that, you have to give a portion of your Social Security payment back. Let me explain. If you earn more than $22,320 in 2024, for every $2 you earn beyond that amount, you have to give $1 back in Social Security payment. By the way, this one's always bothered me because, frankly, if someone's 62, 63, 64 years old, and they continue to work and they're able to continue to work despite the world we all live in, then they shouldn't be penalized for taking Social Security. It's good for the retiree or soon-to-be retiree. It's good for the economy. It's good for everybody, really. Point number 4, unpaid student loan debt. Now this is a polarizing topic in this day and age anyway, because there are two opposing views on this. But as it stands right now, if you are drawing Social Security and you have outstanding student loan debt and you're not making payment on that debt, well, the government can use part of your Social Security payment to offset that obligation. Point 3, unpaid child support. This is one that the government is very passionate about. In fact, up to 50% of your Social Security payment can be garnished if you have unpaid court-ordered child support. Again, like some of the other topics, supplemental security income is exempt from this policy. Alimony falls into the same category. Of course, they are tied to one another, but it's important to note that in all cases, supplemental security income does not apply to the rules here. Point 2, court-ordered garnishments for certain serious crimes. And in this case, we're talking about crimes where the victim loses a lot of money. In other words, we're probably talking about fraud. In this instance, up to 25% of the recipient's Social Security payment can be garnished to satisfy that obligation. Point number 1, incarceration. If you're incarcerated, you lose your Social Security payment after you've been in prison for 30 days. The reason makes sense. If you're in prison, you don't have daily expenses, and your Social Security payment is there to help support you with your daily expenses. Also, there's the double dip issue, which is if you're receiving government-funded housing, so to speak, at the same time you're receiving a payment from Social Security, well, you're effectively drawing your payment twice in one form or another. However, once released from prison, the individual can resume receiving their Social Security payment. They just need to notify the SSA that they're out. If you like this video and you'd like to see more like it, please make sure you click subscribe and turn on notifications so that you get alerted the next time I post a video. I post several times a week. Also, if you like this video, check out that video. It's one that YouTube picked out for you personally based on your search and viewing history. This is Jeff Schmidt. Thanks for watching.